All right, let's talk about Greenland. You probably picture this huge frozen landmass at the very top of the world, right? Well, you're not wrong, but don't let all that ice fool you. See, underneath that frozen shield, there's a secret. A secret so valuable that the world's biggest superpowers are in a mad dash to get their hands on it. We're talking about a kind of white gold. And here's where it gets kind of wild. This vast sheet of ice, it's considered more valuable than the entire GDP of some countries. Think about that for a second. A frozen wasteland worth more than a whole nation's economy. So what on earth makes this ice worth so much? Well, that is the big question we're diving into today. Okay, so first things first, let's get one thing straight. The name Greenland is, well, it's pretty misleading. You'd think green, right? Lush forests, maybe? Nope. The reality is that about 80% of it is just covered in a massive, permanent ice sheet. Trees don't really grow there. So yeah, the name versus the reality, that's really just the first clue that there's more to this place than meets the eye. And this whole struggle to claim Greenland, it's not some new thing. This story goes way back, over 100 years ago. It's a tale of incredible hardship, national pride, and a literal race against the ice. I mean, check out this story. Back in 1909, there was this American claim floating around, so two Danish explorers, Mikkelsen and Iverson, set off on a mission to prove that Greenland was one single island. And they did it. They found the proof, but their victory came at a huge cost. Their ship got completely crushed by the ice, and their crew, thinking they were dead, just left. Can you imagine? They were stranded, alone, for 3 whole years. Miraculously, they were rescued in 1912, and that rescue, it didn't just save their lives, it basically secured Greenland for Denmark. So where does that leave Greenland today? Politically, it's a self-governing territory, but it's still part of the Kingdom of Denmark. It's got its own government and home rule, but that tie to Denmark is still there. It's a pretty unique setup, and it's a huge piece of the puzzle in this modern story. For a long, long time, Greenland was just this remote, icy place. But then something totally unexpected happened that changed the entire game. Climate change. The Great Melt began. And as the ice started to disappear, the key to unlocking Greenland's big secret started to turn. And the scale of this is just mind-boggling. Get this. Every single year, 200 gigatons of Greenland's ice is melting. What does that even mean? Well, to put it in perspective, that's like the weight of more than 500,000 Empire State Buildings just vanishing into the ocean every single year. And the scary part, the pace is picking up. And this is exactly where a problem that seems really far away suddenly becomes a global emergency. If all of Greenland's ice melts, scientists say that sea levels could rise by 7 meters. That's over 23 feet. That's enough to put major coastal cities like Miami, Venice, even San Francisco underwater. So yeah, this isn't just happening over there. It's a potential catastrophe for all of us. But here's the really wild twist in the story. While this melting ice is a potential disaster for the rest of the world, for Greenland, it's actually revealing a treasure, an absolutely unbelievable treasure that's been locked away under 3 kilometers of ice for thousands of years. So, you see, the big secret, the thing that makes this land so incredibly valuable, it's not the ice. It's what's under the ice. And as that ice disappears, what's being exposed is the real reason why all these world powers are suddenly so interested. Okay, let's get into the specifics. For starters, an estimated 13%, that's 1/3, of the entire world's undiscovered oil reserves are believed to be right there, under the ice. I mean, that's a total game changer for global energy. And every day that the ice melts, it gets a little bit easier to reach. And it's not just oil. Geologists also think that a whopping 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas is hiding there too. So all of a sudden, you're not looking at a big icy island anymore. You're looking at a potential energy superpower just waiting to be tapped. With all that at stake, it's probably not a surprise that the United States has tried to buy Greenland more than once. But Denmark keeps saying no. Why? Well, they're haunted by what happened with Alaska. Russia sold Alaska to the US for what looked like a steal at the time, and then it turned out to be a gold mine of resources. Denmark is absolutely determined not to repeat that mistake. But with all this talk about global politics and oil and gas, it's really easy to forget something, or rather someone super important. The people who actually live there. So who are the Greenlanders? What's life really like on this massive white land? Well, for one thing, the population is tiny, only about 60,000 people, and it's almost entirely indigenous. Around 90% of the people there are Inuit, and their ancestors came over from places like Alaska and Siberia centuries ago. Their culture is really the foundation of everything in Greenland. So here's a question for you. In a place that's mostly ice sheets and deep fjords, how do you even get from one town to the next? Because get this, there are pretty much no roads connecting any of them.
The answer is you have to work with the environment. People get around by helicopter or by boat in the short summer months, and of course, by the classic, iconic dog sled. It's a way of life that's just so different from pretty much anywhere else you can think of.
And here's a really cool little detail about life there. You've probably seen pictures of those super colorful houses, right? Well, they're not just for looks. It's actually a practical code. Traditionally, yellow houses were for hospitals, red was for a school or a church, and green meant it was a radio or communication center. It's this beautiful but also super functional system they developed. So all of this brings us to the central conflict of the story. Greenland is truly at a crossroads. For some, it represents a future of incredible promise, but for the rest of the planet, it could represent profound peril. And that's the dilemma right there. For the world, Greenland's melting ice is this ticking time bomb. It's a global threat. But for the people of Greenland, and for Denmark, those exact same melting glaciers are revealing a national treasure. It's a shot at unbelievable wealth, and maybe even total independence. And look, if you need one more fact to really understand the massive scale of what's happening, think about this. The sheer weight of the ice that's melting off Greenland and moving into the oceans is so enormous, it is actually measurably slowing down the Earth's rotation. I'm serious. That's not something out of a sci-fi movie. That's a real planetary-level impact of this great melt. Which really leaves us with this one huge question. As all that ice disappears, is it revealing a new green land of opportunity and wealth? Or is it triggering a change to our world's destiny that we can never undo? The secret of the white gold is out of the bag. And the answer to that question? Well, it's going to affect every single one of us.